Hey, everybody. It's good to be back. Lucky number 4 session. I can't believe it's already been 4 months since we started doing these. Um, see some people coming in from some different parts around the country again. It's nice to see the attendees joining. I already got an early question. What happened to the beard? Okay, so the beard is coming back. Okay, now I think everybody can see me. The beard is coming back. Have no fear. It was a symmetry problem earlier in the week, so sometimes you got to start fresh. But that's okay. It's not always a bad thing to reset and get some clarity and get some focus on what you want to do. Which I think actually is a nice segue into today's topic, which is kind of interesting. Does it ever feel like your head is just sort of spinning when you think about ABM and you think about all the different uh, companies out there that talk about it. I can remember, 7, 8 years ago, nobody was talking about it, and today it seems like everybody's talking about it. I mean, there's just a lot of noise. I mean, our company just recently got back from a summit in Austin that we participated in with one of the analysts, and everybody there was talking about ABM, and it's overwhelming. Uh, we left feeling a little bit overwhelmed. Some of our customers and partners were feeling a little bit overwhelmed because it's just kind of all sounding the same. And I think, for some of the folks on the call, you probably, you know, feel like you're in a similar position. So how do you cut through all the noise? How do you find what's going to make the most sense for your business and your organization? And that's what I kind of want to talk about today. And I think the first thing to consider is, what are people saying, when it comes to ABM, account-based marketing? We're hearing things like, you got to use data to drive decisions, commercial and marketing decisions. We're hearing things like leads are just a single data point, and maybe they're not ready for sales to be passed to. Um, Sales and marketing alignment is key. I know we did a session on that, right? We've been hearing that for 25 years or maybe even longer. This alignment between the two organizations. What does that mean? Signals, you got to use signals to prioritize where, the account accounts are and where sales should focus. First party data is important. Third party data is important. Second party data is important. Data is important, right? Personalization, it's got to be personalized. Maybe it's got to be relevant and personalized. Is there a difference? And this whole buyer journey, is that an individual's journey? Is that a group of people's journey? Is that an account journey? Is it a buying group journey? What journey are we on? What path are we on? Where are we going? So these are just some of the things that we heard, at this summit. And I think, for many of you who are with me today, you're probably hearing a lot of the same things, and your head is probably just spinning around, and you're trying to figure out, okay, how do I decide if I need help? How do I decide where I go for help? And how do I decide how I'm going to explain this internally? Because everything just sounds exactly the same. So I tried to think of a couple of different questions that we've been working with our customers on as they evaluate their strategies, as they you know come up with a plan for how they want to support and engage their sales teams around these different ideas, and really to help them cut through some of the noise so that they can find the best partners to support that strategy. And from our perspective, I think it's important to reinforce and to remind folks that we think ABM is a strategy that's designed for companies that are selling solutions to big companies that have complexity involved. We believe that this whole ABM thing exists because there's been an evolution from a seller driven world to now a buyer driven world, where once sales had all the control in the buying process and was the single source of truth and knowledge for their customer and maybe dealt with a small group of people, to now the buying committee, the account, the customer, the buyers, the people, both known and unknown, have all the power because they can do research, they can get content online, right? And that's the big shift. So fundamentally, that's where we approach this from. But I think if you look at your business and you're trying to cut through the noise, you're trying to figure out based on what your goals and objectives and strategies are for this year, how can you determine where to focus, who to work with, who to talk to, maybe these three questions could help. So we tried to boil it down. I tried to boil it down to three questions. Okay, so the first one, we encourage our partners to ask, and the companies we talk to when we're doing these strategy sessions is, as a business, when you think about who you are, who you sell to, do you know who your key accounts are? Is there a defined list? Whether that's come from sales, whether that's a combination of these are existing customers that you've worked with for a long time, and you continuously sell into them and you grow with them and you expand with them. But do you know generally who those key accounts are? Are those defined? Or do you have thousands and thousands of potential, prospects to target, and you need, some third-party AI data to help you prioritize and help you determine where to focus? So that would be the first thing that I would encourage you to think about is, do I know my key accounts? Do I know who I want to market and sell to? Do I know who I work with? And that list is pretty defined, or is the possibilities endless, and I just need to figure out where to prioritize, and I need some data and some insights out externally to help me create that list and that focus. So that'd be the first thing we would suggest you thinking about as you're trying to cut through some of the noise with which vendors and which partners to work with. The second thing is interesting because no matter who I talk to, this is always an evolving process. But is there a requirement? The second question would be for you to ask: is there a requirement? Is there an emphasis that you have very accurate and complete, CRM type data, whatever CRM you're using, so that you can feed it into that partner's model and create those models in the platform to make the program, to make the solution successful, right? Do you have to have accurate, complete, robust data in the CRM to serve as a foundation for anything you're going to do? So sort of to be successful, ask yourself if that's a requirement, if that's something that you have, if your data is in that shape, is that set, is that right, and will that be required to make the model work? So that's the first two. And then the third is really for you to take a step back and honestly think about your customers and how they make purchases based on what you sell, right? Is there complexity in what you sell? Do you sell lots of different things? Do you just sell one pointed solution? And think about how they buy. And the question to ask is it one person that really makes this decision? Or is it really a matter of a collective set of people that have conversations and discussions over many, many months? And are some of these people really hard to get access to, and maybe you never get access to them and maybe remain unknown the whole time, but you know that they're there and they're forming these buying committees? So when you think, the third thing is that when you think about how your customers buy your solution, is it really one person, or is it many, many people, both known and unknown, that will take many months to have these decisions and formulate, what the solution is ultimately going to be, and then maybe they designate somebody from that committee to engage with sales. So it's not easy. It's an evolving process. It's getting more confusing, I think, as more and more analysts cover the space, more and more technologies develop, people do different pieces of it, but everybody is saying ABM. Everybody is talking about these different aspects of data and first, second, third party alignment and enablement and targeting and advertising and IP and device IP and company IP and what does it all mean? Global. I think if as you're going through your strategies and your evaluations, if you try to boil it down to Do you know your key accounts and where you want to focus? Is having accurate data in a CRM required to make the model work? And when you think about your customers, does one contact matter, or is there lots of people involved? And some of those people, may be impossible to reach physically, but they're there and they're important. And does it happen over months of time? If you boil it down to those three different buckets, I think you're going to find that you're going to get answers from these different providers that are going to guide you into the right direction of where you need to work. And what I would say is, as we are starting to do a lot of this year, even having these questions and even trying to cut through some of the noise in that fashion is going to help. But if you're still struggling and you're still a little bit confused, or you're in an active evaluation because you've got some priorities and some use cases and some strategies set, and you want to get some more clarity, we would be happy to set up some time to take you through different case studies and use cases that could align to what you're focused on, to see which model would work best for your business. And we'll be truthful. I mean, we have a very unique focus here at Jabmo. We are not here to service everyone. We really believe in the fundamental philosophy that's tied to global B2B companies where there's complexity in their business. Manufacturers where there's lots of different products and different channels, which how they go to market. Life science, medical organizations, right, with different sets of committees depending on whether you're working with a individual facility or you're working with an IDN or something of that nature. So, our philosophy is aligned around those markets. And this is sort of where we're coming from with these questions. But I think if you think about your business and you think about how you're going to market today, and you try to cut through some of this noise, ask yourself those three questions. Ask the partner those three questions, and the picture will start to become a little more clear. So we're open, happy to take people through some case study use cases, make it real for you. If you're still having a tough time understanding, it's one of the big things that we get really excited about over here. And we're looking forward to helping you on your journey, right? There's that word again, on your journey. So until then, keep asking questions and keep engaging. It's been great talking with everybody again. We'll see you again in 1 month. Take care.